joining us. I would like to begin this panel, first of all, by saying that I will be sitting here as a student today to learn from all of you stalwarts, and I'm extremely privileged to be a part of this panel. Firstly, I would like all of my co-panelists to please introduce themselves.
Thank you, Shilpa, and I think we all are the learner in this process. I'm Dr. Surabhi Pandey, representing here Indian Institute of Public Administration, heading the area of data analytics and cyber security, and in this field from last 18 years. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and I am Captain Collaco, and I head the administration facilities of Insurance Dekho, based out of Gurgaon. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am Captain Keshav Prasad, presently working as VP Business Development in Rakshak Securitas Private Limited, and earlier I have a long stint in bank also.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Captain Gaurav Bajetha. I work for Urban Company, and I head the global workplace and trust and safety. And the timer of, I think, 23 minutes is already taken off. There's a group of under 40 award winners who I can see a line right at the back who are staring at us and perhaps telling us this session needs to get over well on time because the award ceremony starts after this. So we promise you we'll finish in 23 minutes.
Okay, I would like to begin this discussion by asking Professor Surabhi ma'am that in this digital era, in this contemporary world, are we really safe? Is consumer data really safe? When we talk about data breaches, like if you look at the recent examples, we've had data breaches in AIMS, we've had data breaches in banks as well. So even corporates. So what are your views like on the current structure? Like, are we really safe in this era?
Thank you, Shilpa. And so before getting into the data breaches, let us understand at Bharat today. We talking about digital public infrastructure, DPI, and then comes UPI, Aadhaar, online banking payment system. So many such achievements, DBT and all. From e-commerce to social network, everywhere we generating our data. So whatever, wherever we are interacting on the digital platform, we generating our data, and therefore we living in this data-driven society where a lot of volumes of data has been generated. The question comes, yes, data breaches. So privacy is not an option, it is my fundamental rights. And if it is my fundamental right where Bharat stands and what we doing in this, yes, recently we have this Digital Protection Data Privacy Act, that is DPDP Act has come, and which is, I think, a very significant contribution in this line, where every customers, they have their right of accessing the data. And in that we're talking about data protection authority, looking after the consent and the compliance part, then the data localization, then we also looking after that, how much we can limit that, you know. So such things has come into the picture, which is a big light when we're talking about whatever data we sharing on the different digital platforms. When it comes to the data breaches, again, the organization, whether it is the public, the private sector, even the governments, they have to look after their infrastructure in a way that how we can anticipate the future, you know, vulnerabilities. And we have to anticipate those vulnerabilities and fix those bugs well in time. So whether it is any XYZ case, even the personal identity theft, how much data I should share, that is the access, it is in your hand, how much I can give and share those information online, and how much I must aware about those protection, the concern and everything which is in place. Thank you.
Mr. Keshav, I would like you to elaborate on that, like your comments on the current data privacy structure and how we are tackling those issues currently.
Regarding data privacy, what I see among our society is the awareness of cybersecurity or the sensitivity towards sharing of data is still not very prevalent, especially in a lesser educated group, but they have to use various types of app, including banking app. Second, what I feel the psychology that we are in hurry. Many times the calls are coming when we are working in our office or we are moving about, and suddenly a call comes, sir, your premium is due or a banking transaction is to be done to make payment, then sometimes we overlook the basic security norms. And in that hurry and maybe in good faith, because these people, they come with lot of preparation. They have 50%, almost 50% of your data already with them, so that you get you start relying on them, and then you start working forward, and then finally we realize that we have given the wrong people the payment, and it has gone. And second thing is, many times the data are so sensitive, it gets leaked, that your whole account also can be washed off. There are been incidents where a client or a customer of bank has lost his money because his OTP was shared, or sometimes without sharing that also. Then there are features like M-Aadhaar, which we have in our mobile. Suppose we lock it, then that online transaction gets blocked. But again, this very simple feature is not known to many people. Then today, the data which is shared are mainly for two things: tangible products and intangible products. Like the softwares, the different app platforms like Ola, Uber, the banking platform, all these are online transactions, and there are transactions which we go to the malls or various shopping centers and we use. The proximity card again, though it helps in reducing time and saving lot of problems of putting the password and other things. But at the same time, there are scammers who are able to access your debit card even when it is kept in pocket. And sometimes there have been cases when you travel in airport or another country and you suddenly find losing your money from the account. So, of course, there are certain protection methods, there are certain scam-proof bags meant for debit card and all that. But again, that knowledge and that availability is not there in public to that extent. So that is one way. Then education and awareness, where to go, how much to allow. As Madam was saying, there are feature of allowing. That what we want to allow in that particular app, that we have to be very careful. In good faith, suppose we allow more than what is required for that app, then we are sharing excessive data. And in today's world, where 99% of the big companies, they are interested in digital marketing. And this data, they require very much to identify the taste and requirements of customers, segment the type of customers, and target them. So these things are we have to see that we should be very careful in allowing this data. These are very common mistakes which people make, and then they tend to lose their valuable money, or the informations which they provide finally become so repetitive to them that they get irritated because of those notifications and other things. And it is very difficult to block them also at times. So these are the points which I would like to say, and we should be again very careful about OTP and other things. In Aadhaar, normally just 2-3 years before it was allowed that wherever we entered, if we entered a corporate office or we had to go for a booking ticket or whatever it is, we had to share the Aadhaar card. But today, they say that instead of sharing the Aadhaar number and Aadhaar card photocopy, why not go for give your thumb impression? That is one way of not sharing your Aadhaar number. So then we all know that PAN card and Aadhaar card was especially the soft copy and the photocopy, was one of the major causes of cybercrime, which consumers got affected. Slowly this has been stopped, and now this has been almost controlled. So these are few awarenesses which I would say that we have to incorporate with our day-to-day life and to our friends and colleagues and avoid this sort of situations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I believe with more awareness, people will be more educated on how to protect their data. Captain Bajetha, I would like to ask you that you work in Urban Company, which is a new age tech organization, and definitely you handle with a lot of operational issues, the challenges that you face. So how are you, looking after, how are you managing those issues operational per se?
I work for Urban Company, and we have around 50 lakh customers. I hope everybody sitting in this room is part of that 50 lakhs. It's important for us to collect consumer data to start giving services, because the services we provide, the partner has to go into the house of the customer and provide. So I'll actually cover two key aspects which are fairly operational on why it becomes very, very important for an organization like Urban Company to protect the customer data. So the partner who comes into your home to provide the service, there is a certain rating that you give that partner, right? And that rating is like a North Star for the partner to continue working in the platform. To maintain a certain service level, there is a rating that they have to maintain. So it is, and there are a lot of occasions where the service does not happen in the right way, or there is a certain disagreement between the service partner and the customer. And the customer ends up giving a low rating to the partner. So it's very, very important for us to make sure that we create a mask and a screen between the service partner and the customer, so that the partner is not aware on which customer has given which rating. Therefore, the partner cannot at any way go back to the customer and actually question the customer on why you rated me low. I gave you a good service. This at times even puts the safety of the customer at risk. There could be a partner who could kind of, get aggressive with the customer and put his safety at risk. So therefore, there's a lot of technology, encryption softwares that we use. There's a lot of number masking we do, where the partners and the customers are not supposed to exchange numbers. And this is obviously to protect the safety of the partner as well as the customer. So that's the operational safety part. The other aspect is obviously an important aspect for us as a business. So we are a platform which connects the partner to the customer, and therefore all the engagement between these two parties happens through the platform. So at any time, if a partner would want to take a direct number of the customer, it is a direct revenue loss for us as an organization. We call it disintermediation. So therefore, as an organization, it's very important for us to protect this exercise and ensure that the partners and customers do not exchange numbers. And there's also a lot of related risks. The warranties and the security and the trust and safety that we assure you on a certain service is based on the booking that's done directly on the app, and not when you collect the number directly from the customer and give the service. So therefore, both these areas make it very critical for us to make sure that customer data privacy is taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bajetha. Mr. Collaco, my question to you would be, how should individuals protect their data, especially online? What are some key steps or suggestions you would like to make for these individuals to, enhance their digital literacy?
Thanks, Shilpa. I think most of the crowd here must be hearing that music and wanting to be that side rather than this side of the part. Anyway, I'll just take a step backward to it and just explain to you how exactly we should proceed. We are a country where about 560 million people are on the internet, right? Out of those 560, I will divide it into wired and unwired. So wired is around 17 million, and the last 537 is almost the unwired or your wireless ones, what you call. Now, taking a step still further, there's a division between the urban and the rural. The rural is about 17, 18%, and the rest of the 80, 82% is almost the urban population, and especially the Gen X people who are using it. The growth of internet has happened, and it is happening at almost around 20% in India, which is the highest in the world. Though our internet speed, if we there's an organization known as OKLA, OOKLA, which is a US-based organization, which does a survey of all these things. Out of 138 countries, we figure out 121, which we have slipped down from 2019 onwards. There's a gradual slip that is happening. Countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and even Bhutan are much, much ahead of us in terms of the speed, internet speed. Now, a lot of things have been covered by my co-panelists. There have been certain regulations, like ma'am was talking of the Data Protection Act, which has come into place. This is a shared responsibility between the user and, when I say user, I mean the consumer part of it, and the person whose services you are using. Like in our case also, I work for an insurance company, which we are basically aggregators. We deal with almost around 80 to 90 insurance companies. There's a lot of data which is churned up. Now this data would be personal data, because the first time when you fill in your form for any insurance, there'll be a lot of questions that are your name, your father's name, and it doesn't restrict only to you. It goes down to your spouse, to your children's date of birth, because they calculate, your premium is calculated accordingly. Then all this data then goes to an underwriting team which certifies whether this person, like, is he really worth it to give an insurance policy of, say, 1 crore or 2 crores or even 50 lakhs for that matter. Now what happens is, there is a technical team which is working on this entire database. You have something which is happening at the back end, and all of a sudden there are strict regulations, let me tell you. The IRDA is very strict in terms of regulations. But the only problem with this entire thing is that being a part of fintech or financial services, as I would call it, there are too many regulatory bodies, and each regulatory body controls their own domain. So to really control what is within your hands is sometimes very difficult. Ultimately, it is the consent of the customer. I may want to share certain data. I may not want to share certain data. DPD Act and even if you go through the GDPR Act also, where there are 5 major, bullet points in that, which says that it should be trans-border. So we also should work out something which is trans-border, where if I have to buy something, say, from the US, or I need to buy something from the UK, my data is protected. They have huge fine, 4% of the turnover, of your turnover, you could be fined up to that. So basically, it is a consent part of it, and it's a trust part of it. So until you have a trustworthy partner, I have somebody whom I really am able to, share my data with, and I have, as an organization, I have certain steps within the system, so that if I have to share data, I share only that particular data which is supposed to be known to that person. So it becomes difficult for us, and with the new regulations coming up, the onus is not on, it is not going to be only on the particular person. It is going to be on the data processors. It is going to be on the person who's on the server also. So all these consents are really very important for us, so that as individuals, our rights are protected. Like ma'am rightly said, privacy is our right. I can demand anything in terms of privacy if my data is being, it's being shared by a number of people, and it's being compromised by some person. So that compromise portion has to be taken care of by us. Of course, there is a responsibility, there is a higher responsibility to whom you are sharing with. So we have to be careful where, when. So I would say that you have to authenticate your data. First of all, you must try and authenticate whatever data you're giving. Do I really need to share it with that particular organization? Then who is the authority that is going to be using that data? It's important for us to understand that who's using that data. And last of all, it is the authority, under whose signatures it is going. So these are a few points that I thought I'd make.
Thank you so much, sir. And lastly, I would like to ask Professor Surabhi again that what are some of the safety tips you would like to suggest to all of us, even the audience, that we can incorporate to protect our data?
Thank you so much, and I'll quickly wind up, and many of us are aware about the safety tips, but I'll name it again, right? And as Sir has said, ownership is with us, that is data portability is our right now, so ownership and control is with us. Good that in DPDP Act we have this data consent has come, Data Protection Authority looking after the compliance. So the service with the trust we looking, services which we are accessing, and the trust should be maintained. But everything come with the preventive mechanism, and a lot of preventive mechanism you can also do with the check and control. And what is that? We know very well. Strong password with the unique password with the two-factor authentication, share limited information, as somebody said, check permission. So you can install app, but yes, you can please see the permission which they are seeking. If it is necessary to allow to install, but later on you can disable as per your requirement also. The next is limit your private and sensitive data on public storage. I can't say the cloud word, but yes, the public storage. That is in your hand. Tighten the privacy setting. Again, privacy setting, whether it is your laptop, as somebody said, wired, unwired device, whatever you're looking after, the social media account, tighten your privacy setting. That's very important. Disable cookies. Whosoever is accessing our data, disable cookies, right? So the basic safety tips which is in our hands. Stay aware about the different alert and notification comes into the picture. I always say towards the end, यदि आपके साथ साइबर अपराध होता है तो आपको कहाँ जाना है? cybercrime.gov.in. And one friend is very important in today's time, that is the Cyber Dost. So Cyber Dost is a Twitter handle account handled by I4C MHA. Have one friend with you and stay aware about all the different threats and the modus of operandi coming into the picture every day and today, and you'll be alert and safe with the basic safety tips. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you to all the panelists for giving us very insightful inputs on this topic. Thank you. Thank you for joining.